The first time I saw Clara Voss's name, it was scribbled on a sticky note in the precinct's cold case archive. A 34-year-old cybersecurity analyst, found dead in her apartment on a rainy October night. No signs of forced entry, no obvious struggle, just a laptop open on her desk, its screen frozen on a line of code. The medical examiner ruled it a cardiac arrest, but her family insisted she was healthy. Something felt off. I requested the file out of curiosity, or maybe guilt. Cold cases have a way of gnawing at you when the world forgets. Clara lived in a sleek downtown loft, a space that mirrored her profession, minimalistic, efficient, sterile. Forensics had documented everything, but I needed to see it through a detective's lens, not a technician's. The walls were bare except for a single framed photo of her hiking Mount Rainier, her auburn hair whipping in the wind. Her desk, though, told a different story. Neat stacks of journals filled with handwritten algorithms, a half-empty mug of herbal tea, and that laptop. The code on the screen was a decryption program, its progress bar stuck at 97%. Whatever she'd been working on died with her. I started with her colleagues. At Nexacorp, a tech firm specializing in blockchain security, Clara was described as brilliant but paranoid. She'd recently flagged anomalies in a client's financial ledger, a series of microtransactions funneling funds into offshore accounts. When she reported it, her superiors dismissed it as a glitch. But Clara kept digging. Her best friend, Rachel, mentioned a USB drive Clara carried everywhere. She called it her black box, said it had proof of something bigger. The drive wasn't in the evidence inventory. Then there was the matter of her apartment's smart home system. Security logs showed no breaches, but the system had rebooted at 2:14 a.m., 4 minutes before Clara's time of death. A glitch? Maybe, but in her line of work, coincidences were code for cover-ups. I requested the raw server data. Patterns emerged. Irregular spikes in data traffic the week before her death, all routed through an IP linked to a shell company in Estonia. Nexacorp's clients included banks and governments. If Clara had uncovered a backdoor in their systems, it would have made her a target. But without the USB drive, it was circumstantial. I turned to her personal life. No romantic partners. No debts. Her parents, retired teachers, spoke of a woman obsessed with privacy. She even avoided social media, her mother said. Said every post was a data point for someone to exploit. Yet in her nightstand, I found a burner phone. The only number in its history was traced to a disposable VoIP account. The last call lasted 12 seconds, the night she died. The VoIP trail led to a cafe near the waterfront. Surveillance footage from that night showed a man in a grey hoodie purchasing a coffee, his face obscured. He left the phone on a table and walked out. The cafe's Wi-Fi logs revealed the device had connected to a virtual private network, bouncing its signal through servers in 3 countries. Untraceable, professional. Back at Nexacorp, I dug deeper into the financial anomalies Clara had found. The transactions were small, never more than $10,000, but frequent, like digital drips filling an invisible bucket. A forensic accountant confirmed they matched patterns used in salami slicing schemes, where fractions of cents are siphoned from thousands of accounts. But these weren't cents, they were entire payouts disguised as routine transfers. The destination? A network of crypto wallets linked to a venture capital firm called Vector Partners. Vector's CEO, Elias Kane, was a Silicon Valley ghost. No interviews, no public photos. Rumors swirled that he'd funded black market AI projects and experimental surveillance tech. Clara's journals hinted at a connection, pages of notes on Vector's patents, including one for a neural interface that could predict behavioral outliers. She'd circled a phrase, asymmetric threat detection. I requested warrants for Nexacorp's internal communications. Buried in Slack archives was a deleted message from Clara to her manager. The glitch isn't a bug. It's a feature, and it's learning. Her manager, Greg Harlow, had responded with a single word: stop. 2 days later, Greg resigned, citing health issues. His LinkedIn profile now listed him as a consultant in the Cayman Islands. Then came the break. Clara's neighbor, an elderly woman with a habit of recording bird sightings from her balcony, had captured partial footage of a man entering Clara's building the night she died. His gait was distinctive, a slight limp in his left leg. I cross-referenced it with employee badges at Nexacorp. Match found Ian Cole, a junior developer who'd transferred to the finance division 6 months prior. His personnel file was a redacted maze, but his medical record showed a titanium rod in his left femur. Military grade. Ian vanished the day I tried to bring him in. His apartment was stripped clean, save for a vintage typewriter with a sheet of paper still in the tray. On it, a single sentence: "You can't decrypt fate." His bank accounts were drained, but a traffic cam caught his motorcycle heading toward the Canadian border. Interpol got involved. Turns out, Ian wasn't just a developer. He was a contractor for a private intelligence firm hired by Vector to monitor liabilities. Clara had become a liability. The USB drive surfaced in Mexico City, mailed anonymously to a data journalist. Its contents were dizzying: blueprints for an AI model trained to manipulate stock markets by exploiting emotional triggers in news cycles. Clara had reverse-engineered it, discovering a kill switch, a code that could crash the system. But to activate it, she needed access to Vector's core server. The night she died, she'd nearly succeeded. The 97% progress bar wasn't a failure, it was a countdown. Elias Kane was arrested in Zurich, though he'd never see a courtroom. His lawyers argued the evidence was theoretical. But Clara's work had already triggered audits. Nexacorp dissolved. Vector's assets froze. And Ian, found dead in a Vancouver safe house, a neurotoxin in his whiskey. Suicide, they said. I didn't buy it. In the end, Clara's case was closed as corporate espionage, a sterile term for a woman who'd fought a silent war. I kept her photo from Mount Rainier, a reminder that some battles leave no witnesses, just echoes in the data. And sometimes the only justice is knowing the truth, even if it never makes the headlines.